You spent countless hours in the garage with your dad. Now investing in that old car and working on it with your son reminds you of him. And his legacy lives on. Fund your passion with a low-interest home equity line of credit from Bank of Blue Valley.
Oh, see, it's fun to have sunglasses.
No, I'm just wearing these in life. I'm going to wear them the whole show. What are you doing?
Well, you know, Aaron, the future is so bright that you have to wear sunglasses.
You and your dad jokes.
Woo! Yeah.
On Father's Day, can we make a video of you just telling dad jokes for the Drinks with Leaders page?
Well, you know, that's how we do it. I'm the edgy guy.
Oh, you're so edgy.
You're the play it straight. You know?
Yeah, you're the edgy one of us too. You're right.
That's right. That's right.
You're not the one that calls me every day and is like, should you have posted that? And I'm like, yeah, if they don't like me, I don't care.
Yeah, good. You know what? That's why you do the best personal branding in Kansas City, the fastest growing part of Lily and James Creative, but also just as fast as growing as Bank of Blue Valley and Burns McDonnell. I didn't know you were a Wendy's girl. Tell me about that.
I went to the doctor.
And that segues in. This is our banter before the show as you
terrible. This is terrible banter. I have a spider bite. Is that what you're going to talk about?
Well, I don't want to.
I thought I was dying. It's like this big. I thought I was dying. I thought I was going to have to go in for a whole surgery. It's just a spider bite.
In the pre-show, one of our guests that's coming on, which everyone wants to see, she gave a great joke in the segue of we were talking about how well your business was doing, and she was like, "Well, don't pat her on the back." Spider joke.
Oh my God. It's a wonder that they haven't made this show nationally televised with all these hilarious jokes you're telling today.
I'm telling you, we need to hire some content writers. I'm sure you've listened to. Oh, you have content writers too?
Yes.
You do it for businesses, but do you do it for podcasts?
No, but we do it for personal branding, and we do it for all the thought leader videos, and we host a ton of podcasts.
This is actually what I do. Well, maybe we're just so good at the soft talk opening with spider bites and Wendy's and sunglasses. We don't need writers.
I don't want to talk about this anymore. Okay, so what were you saying about Bank of Blue Valley and Burns McDonnell, our favorite sponsors in the entire world?
Burns McDonnell hired a record 1,600 people, and Bank of Blue Valley is running and gunning as big banks are tightening up their lending. A lot of the community banks and national banks like Bank of Blue Valley are becoming really good partners to the business community. So they are running and gunning. So it sounds like a lot of people on the show are, thankfully, we're all growing. It sounds like a lot of people in the audience are growing as their businesses are rocking.
What recession are they even talking about? I don't even understand it. Everyone I know is killing it, but they're all doing so much content on LinkedIn. Hey, look, we already have a ton of people watching the show today. Hi, Nick Paradise. Sheila, hello. She says personal branding sounds great. And Nick Giuliano says his two favorites. Hi, Nick. Listen, if you are watching the show, let us know in the comments if you're watching from Facebook, YouTube, or LinkedIn. If you're watching the show after we're live, let us know that too. I always go back and watch it and see who watches us because a lot of people watch this after we're not live too. Did you know that, Scott?
Absolutely. And not only that, but Sheila is sandwiched between two gentlemen named Nick and named my son Nick. And one of the Nicks his sister introduced my wife and I.
What about Janae? You got any names for this? This is my ex-girlfriend's name, Janae. But this Janae, I really like.
Oh, good. Well, yeah. Hey, don't compare. Janae's one of our best fans and listeners.
Lift out of my mouth.
Don't let Aaron comment that your name's the same as her ex-girlfriend, okay?
No, listen, but I really like Janae Tella.
Yeah.
Really like me, Janae. Sorry, that just the lift on my mouth. Okay. Anyways, can we refocus? This is supposed to be a business show, not an Aaron's drama life show. Although that would be really good too. Here's Dan.
Spider bites, you never
Ooh,
know.
We're national show. Watching on my phone in a hotel room in Times Square. Yeah, you are, Dan. Yeah, you are. I was just booking my kids love staying in Times Square. I was just booking our New York Christmas trip. We always go there. And I always try to stay in different bureaus. And they're like, please, Times Square. I'm like, oh, it's so exhausting. All right, let's quit talking and bring in our guests because they're way cooler than us. What do you think about that? Why'd you guys play last week when I was gone? And you guys never once on the show, never one time on the show even mentioned the fact why I wasn't here. It was because it was first week of school. My kids were in shows.
And you're being a great super mom.
You played a terrible song as the opener when I was watching it and spying on you guys.
It was It was duck walking.
It was called Feeding the Ducks. It was here. This is what we're gonna play, but this is terrible. Why would you guys play this? No, it's a good thing I'm back. Okay. All right, here we go. We're just gonna bring in our guests because the rest of this show.
Well, you run the whole show. It's like you kind of can't let children be in charge when you're like the alpha.
My kids do better.
You can't let the kids take control of the asylum.
All right, we're gonna go ladies first. Our first guest is Susan, followed by Jeremy, and last but certainly not least, Steven. I'm like one of those WWE announcers. Janae said she's sorry, just call her names. It's all good. Just change your whole name for me, Janae. Everything's fine, guys. Everything is fine. Hi, Susan.
Hi, Aaron.
Who are you? What do you do? And how do you get to Kansas City?
Well, I'm Susan Belger Angulo. I am the co-executive director and development director at HappyBottoms, Kansas City's only diaper bank. And I was born and raised in Kansas City and love being in this community.
What is a diaper bank?
Well, we are one of 200 diaper banks in the country, and we provide diapers to families in need. So you cannot purchase diapers on food stamps, WIC, or through Medicaid. And so families that are struggling to make ends meet, we work with 67 partner agencies in our community to provide diapers for families.
Wait, you can't purchase, hold on, that's wild. You can't purchase diapers, a necessity, on any of the funded help.
No. And to make matters worse, the state of Missouri taxes diapers at the luxury tax level. So what you would buy alcohol, diamonds, tobacco, guns, is what they tax diapers at because they feel like they are a luxury and not a necessity.
Okay, just clarifying question. Does Kansas do that or is it just Missouri?
Kansas also does diaper tax, but it's not as bad as Missouri. And we are trying to get the tax reduced or eliminated in the state of Missouri. We've tried for 2 years and hope that this is the year that we make that happen.
So I just recently bought diapers. My kids are old, but I just recently bought them for a baby shower. Those things are crazy expensive.
Yes.
That's wild. Then they're taxed on top of that.
Well, and just think about it, Aaron. Not only are you taxed at the state level, you also get taxed at the city level. And then if there is a special tax, it ends up costing a family almost 10% in sales tax when they purchase diapers in Kansas City, Missouri.
Well, good thing you guys exist because people are going to keep having babies. So
yes.
Susan, you took my thunder of I was going to ask leading questions of the sin tax and then how long it has occurred. So you took the thunder from out underneath me.
Sorry, Scott.
Sorry, Susan. Scott's a man, so he likes to ask questions that he already knows the answer to, so he can lead you into that. Well, good job.
Makes me feel superior.
Yeah.
So Susan, with your background, you've done a lot prior to HappyBottoms. Can you kind of tell the audience your personal background before you spent your time at HappyBottoms and growing it?
Yeah, our family, my grandfather started a trucking company here in Kansas City in 1919 called Belger Cartage. It still exists. It still is family owned. We celebrated our 100th anniversary in 2019. So an incredible history. But then through my time at the Junior League of Kansas City, Missouri, I found this wonderful passion to ask people for money. And redid my career and finished the capital campaign and helped to open Union Station. And from there, I spent 18 years at the Children's Center for the Visually Impaired before landing at HappyBottoms in 2019.
I was on the board at the Junior League, Susan.
I know you were, Erin.
I think, okay, if you don't know what the Junior League is and you're a young woman, you should check it out. It's a great way to learn about Kansas City. It's a great way to learn about a lot of different nonprofits, a lot of history. Like, I feel like I learned so much while I was in Junior League.
Well, and Erin, I think the best thing about the Junior League is it gives you the opportunity to try things that you might not, it may not have been your career path, but just like me, I was able to try something through their fundraisers and completely change the trajectory of what I wanted to do with the rest of my life, which is give back to this community that has been so good to us.
Side note, not that this has anything to do with me, sorry, but I just want to, I love what you're saying. The first time I ever had a train on LinkedIn, I didn't know LinkedIn very well, so I learned it because we were volunteering for Women's Employment Network through Junior League, and it became my entire career. Mm-hmm. So that's a great point.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, you guys have a big event coming up. Can you talk about that real quick?
Oh my gosh, our major fundraiser is going to be on Monday, September 11th. It's called the Diaper Bowl. It is a fun tailgate style event in our parking lot at 303 West 79th. The beauty of being on a Monday night is the beer company across the street is not open, so we can close the street down and throw a great party. Live and silent auction, fun to need, a live band, great food, great liquor. It'll be a fun night. The twist this year, one of the things that we've done at HappyBottoms is we created an outreach program. We were told that the number one most requested item at the libraries are diapers, and we had no idea. But when you think about it, families go there to get warm in the winter and get cool in the summer. They use the internet. The librarians do not kick them out. Maybe they come with their baby and they have one or two diapers. They run out of diapers and it's the most requested item. So, but the libraries couldn't become a partner because they didn't have the space to be able to manage what we do with our partner agencies. So we created these wonderful things called Happy Packs, and they are 5 emergency diapers with our card inside that lets a family know where they can continue to receive diapers until a child turns 4 or becomes potty trained. What we also did with that outreach is we have given them to our first responders. So they are in the hands of the Kansas City, Missouri Police Department, the Leawood Police Department, and the Independence Fire Department. And we're trying to get them in the hands of the KC-Mo Fire Department and other areas. And we were blown away by a story that the Independence Fire Department called to tell us about after that crazy storm we had that Friday night, that all the trees and we lost all of our power and everything came down. There was a house that caught on fire in Independence. And while they were battling the fire and the family virtually got out with only the clothes on their back, the baby had an accident and one of the firemen was able to grab one of our Happy Packs, change the diaper of the baby while the rest of the firemen were putting out the fire. And then we're able to continue to give them additional Happy Packs to go into shelter until they could get back on their feet. So because our event is on September 11th this year, we are going to do somewhat of a more patriotic theme, and we're going to bring some of those first responders in to tell the stories of how the Happy Packs have given them an opportunity to be more face to face with our citizens in Kansas City.
You actually kind of just answered my next question a little bit, but did you, when you guys were planning that event, I always wonder this, did you have, when you were planning the event, when it seemed like September 11th was going to be the best date, were you afraid of pushback? Were you afraid of anything like that? Because that's just such a sacred date, but the farther we get from it, like, I just wonder what the thought process was.
You know, we always do our event the Monday after Labor Day. So it just happened, but isn't it funny how things happen I believe for a reason, and knowing that we rolled those out to the first responders made it very much that we will take a moment to remember, but then we have a lot of work to do that night to raise money, because we have also a new initiative going into 2024.
Well, listen, I'm actually flying to New York on September 11th. That might be why I'm a little hyper aware of it this year. So I wish you a lot of luck on your, it sounds like it's incredible. I love how you incorporated the firefighters. I think that's a great story and a great solution, right?
Yeah,
so that people
exactly.
Awesome. All right. Well, first of all, I got to pull up this comment, guys. Keep letting us know if you're watching. There's a lot of people watching. Please comment if you're watching. Otherwise, I'm blocking you. Just kidding. Jonathan says, I'm just here for the jokes. Thank you, Jonathan. Can't be Scott's jokes because they're terrible.
Jonathan works for a company that's a little bit, it's coming on not quite 100 years, but they actually manufacture a lot of the willow tree ornaments that tell stories that a lot of people in Kansas City know about throughout the country. So
whenever you have a baby, somebody gets you a willow tree every time.
That's right. They got a good Christmas gift coming out that we need to have Jonathan on the show.
All right. Well, Jeremy, who are you? What do you do? And how did you get to Kansas City?
Well, so who I am, I'm Jeremy Gray, and I own Noble Consulting. How did I get to KC? And I'll talk about what I do in just a minute. So I grew up in Leavenworth, Kansas. I joined the Army, and after 22 years, Kansas City is just one of my favorite places. And actually, one of my favorite places in the world is Union Station in KC. Everybody laughs, like you've literally been to Switzerland and Germany and all those things. And I love coming home to the Kansas City metro area. So obviously established my business here. I'm a dad joke aficionado, so I have to say a dad joke here, if that's okay. So here we go. So I'm going to ask Scott, just because I think you'll appreciate this. How does the moon cut their hair?
Chris, not asked that question. I have no idea.
They eclipse it.
Terrible.
I know. I'm so sorry, Aaron. I do apologize.
You should have asked you. I'm not that smart.
I apologize for the bad joke, but I love dad jokes. But
I'm sorry for everybody watching.
And everybody just left. I apologize.
And now we have no viewers. Thank you very much.
So in addition to that, what my business is, my business is about people. And what I like to tell people what I do is I mine gold in people. And so I'm very centric about that.
Is that why you have the beard?
I do. So
you're making jokes about the beard ahead of time.
The long story long with the beard, I cut it off, and then my wife was like, "You have to keep the beard because I don't have a chin." So, anyways,
that's all I gotta do.
Yeah. Here, I'll let you borrow it anytime you want. Anyways, but what I do is I do leadership development, durable skills training, essential skills training, coaching, consulting, where if anybody has a people challenge, I like to bring the people solutions, emotional intelligence and all those things. And some of the wins I've had in the recent months is I've actually worked with some nonprofits that work with the homeless shelters around Kansas City. And I was able to deliver some work skills to those homeless shelters. And one of the great things about going there is I actually learned from some of those gentlemen that were moving, and those men specific, that were there moving from being homeless back into the workforce. And each one of those gentlemen taught me something. And it was very interesting. Specifically, there's this gentleman named Dawn. My wife has all the abilities. All I have is the gift of gab. And so my wife has all these abilities, and she is fantastic. She's a crafty person. And so she was wanting to restore some old furniture we have. And one of the gentlemen in the group was named Don. And Don was like, Jeremy, all you have to do is use some steel wool and a specific thing, which I've already told my wife, but I've forgotten. And my wife did it, and it was fantastic. So I was just amazed on how I could learn. I love learning from people. So that's kind of what I do is I go across the globe to different countries. I do it in Kansas City. Got global partners that I work with to develop their people, where they improve communication, conflict resolution, emotional intelligence, or I do some of the coaching to unpack some of that dirt that's in their head so they can really see the gold value they have in themselves.
Where do you go? Where's your favorite place to go across the globe? Besides Union Station, like you said, I go across the globe. Like you said, go some really cool places. Where's your favorite?
Munich, Germany, I think, is probably my favorite. Munich has some amazing infrastructure, and I love history. So it's got some old castles, and specifically there is either in Munich or Nuremberg, there is a clock where they bring out life-size. It's like a cuckoo clock, but it's life-size, and they're like 10 foot tall, and people just stand every hour and they watch it just turn and they do a little dance. One of my favorite places to go across the globe is Munich. So,
Jeremy, where do you think your gift of empathy comes from?
That is a great question. Boy, howdy. So empathy is something that I think I learned later in life after I was going through a hard time. I wouldn't say it was something that was natural with me, but I went through some really rough periods, and I had some people that walked with me and showed me how kindness, gentleness, and just encouragement can really alter a person's mindset and a person's trajectory of life. Specifically, when that happened, I had a starter marriage. I don't know if anybody's ever had one of those. And after my starter marriage, I appreciate that. And then I had some amazing people kind of they didn't need to come alongside me. They were much better people than I ever thought I could be. And they poured into me. And from that, I've learned to value others in a very high level, because I realize that's all we've got is each other. And if I can be curious about people and love on them and encourage them and let them go and just let them do amazing things, I get pretty excited about that. So I would say probably that life event where I saw people empathize with me, and it literally changed a lot of my perspectives.
I have a question for you, Jeremy.
Go ahead, Aaron.
Only Jeremy can answer this. What is the difference between an alligator and a crocodile?
Is it okay if I answer?
Yeah. Do you know the difference?
I think so. I think a crocodile, I screwed this up. An alligator will see you later, and a crocodile will see you in a little while.
Why do you know it? Why do you know a joke? That's the only joke I have.
It's a good joke. That's why
Don't give him another question. He's going to knock it out of the park again. He's 2 for 2.
This is my daughter's favorite. Last one, and then no one else is allowed.
Uh-oh. You could go 3 for 3.
Why is the math book sad?
I don't know.
Because it had a lot of problems.
Can I respond?
Killing them all. Still going to the Hall of Fame.
Aaron, can I respond, please,
No.
with a joke myself?
Fine, one more, and then I'm cutting you off.
Okay.
I'm dropping it.
You know, math. I don't need to solve for your ex. You need to figure out your own problems.
All right, Steven.
Oh, look at that fitting
Speaking
transition.
of,
I don't know why
every
I'm
week,
here.
you guys, Paul comes in to tell us he's watching on something. He just makes stuff up. He thinks it's hilarious. Him and Scott think it's hilarious.
I think it's hilarious. Paul, you're going
I
to have to
don't even know what
explain
that
to
means.
us. Or someone in the audience is going to have to explain to us what that means. I don't know.
Paul, we don't even understand your joke this week. You ran out of jokes that we understand. Steven, can you make it better? You seem cool. Who are you? What do you do? How do you get to Kansas City?
I am probably the least interesting person that just came now. So Stephen Anthony, I'm the executive director of business development for the Economic Development Corporation of Kansas City, Missouri. It's the longest title in the history of mankind, but it's mine. That's what I have. I'm actually a Kansas City native. Was born in Kimo and raised in KCK. and just moved back about 2 years now. Officially been back here for a little bit over 2 years from being in Washington, D.C. for the last 15.
And then what brought you to Washington, D.C.? And where'd you go to school?
So I went to undergrad in New Orleans at a historically Black college called Dillard University. And my initial journey to DC was during my last semester of my senior year of undergrad. This tells you just how old I am. A little storm hit the Gulf Coast called Hurricane Katrina. Mm-hmm. And so that lost everything I owned during that time period, and found myself relocated to the Washington, D.C. area, which I had family out that way. So found myself out that way, and eventually ended up staying out there for a little while, coming back to New Orleans, then coming back to Kansas City, and then ultimately moving back out to DC to take up banking. So went into the banking world. So I am a reformed banker.
Okay, so you went to Washington, D.C., back to New Orleans, Kansas City, back to Washington, D.C. Those are three very different places.
Yeah,
so
and how does Georgetown real estate fit into there, to Aaron's question as well?
You don't even know what my question was because you didn't let me finish it.
So those are all very different places. They kind of go from a scale, right? So you got Kansas City, which is sort of, people are kind of laid back. And then you got New Orleans, where they're really kind of crazy laid back. And then there's DC, which is completely different. So yeah, no, my graduate degree is in real estate from Georgetown University. So exactly 10 years apart between those two degrees. But yeah, that's where I kind of learned and leaned into the real estate side and created my own real estate company and did all of that stuff in a prior life and so forth. But yeah, that's where all of it kind of came into play.
Did you leave New Orleans when they told you to evacuate, or were you there when it hit?
I did not. Yeah, no, I stayed. I was one of those. See, what most people fail to remember is that literally the 2 weeks before Katrina hit, there was another hurricane. And that hurricane actually, everyone evacuated, took 5 hours to get out of the city, and then it went west. And so nothing happened. And so when Katrina was coming, everyone's like, whatever. Yeah, we're not going to go through 5 hours of traffic again. We're not doing this a second time, not 2 weeks later. But it did this little weird thing where folks remember Katrina was kind of going west towards Texas. And then all of a sudden in the last 24 hours before, it just shot straight up and went barreling down on New Orleans. And so by that time, I was already in my apartment. It was like, yeah, there's no way I'm getting out of the city at this point. I'm just going to do what most people say you should do, is go into the area of your house or apartment that has the most kind of strength and so forth. And that's your bathroom, right? And so went into the bathroom, slept in the tub rather, not the toilet. Slept in the tub and covered myself. And luckily, that was the only place in the entire apartment that did not cave in. Oh, wow. So I stayed on the second floor. The third floor was completely destroyed. When I came out the next morning, you could literally look straight up and see the sky from the second floor of the apartment. It was the only place in the entire apartment that did not collapse. So,
did you spend any time in the stadium?
I did not, but I spent time on the bus with folks from the stadium. So as I was eventually trying to make my way to Houston on the bus, that bus stopped at the stadium, picked up folks that were there, and then we all slept at the bus station overnight as I was trying to make my way back to Kansas City.
I lived in Dallas at the time, and they also bused people to Dallas, but I had been in New Orleans the week before, so I remember how crazy. So we're around the same age is all I'm saying. And I remember how insane. I can't even imagine. You probably have years worth of therapy from that night, right?
Yeah, I used to tell folks that whenever it rained really hard, I would literally get anxiety. And so if it rained too hard, I would start shaking. And so it was absolutely crazy. That lasted for about 2 years.
How do you think that plays into your job now at the Economic Development Center? Because I'm sure there has to be stuff that you learned during that you use now, right?
Yeah, what's crazy is, I stumbled into economic development. And so I recognized after the fact just how much I was probably more passionate about this field than I initially would have thought. Because economic development is all about, for me, at the center, it's about the human person. And so, just kind of learning about people and what people need in order to be successful and to thrive and to build communities that are thriving. And so Katrina was one of those where you saw the worst of us, and then you also saw the best in us, right? And so you saw how people community rallied together to really help one another when the powers that be, did not necessarily look out for the rest of us. And so, I think that for me, it really kind of created this human-centric, idea around economic development and making sure that we can build communities that, that help everyone across the board instead of a selective few.
That's wild. Paul said he was living down there too.
That's where I lived, right there in Metairie.
Look, and now you're both in Kansas City.
Aaron, a question for you to come back is who's the first person that's friends with Jamari that you office with that is at 1800 Vine? He's got a beard as well.
Who's
He's an
Jamari?
architect. Who
is Jamari? You mean Shamari?
Shamari. But who's the gentleman with the beard that you spoke on a panel with?
Dan Smith.
Is it Dan Smith?
Was it Dan Smith?
No, not Jason Parsons. He had glasses, but I feel like he did a lot of work as an architect in economics.
Oh, Tim. I don't want to talk about Tim on the show.
Well, I didn't know if you guys knew each other, but yeah, it's really interesting the ties to New Orleans from Kansas City.
Yeah, Tim worked with Brad Pitt's nonprofit at the time.
Interesting.
Yeah. And they went down there and did some stuff. So yeah, I see where you were going.
You guys just thought Stephen and him would know each other.
I'm gonna nobody tell Shamari, called him Jamari. Okay, everybody keep that a secret.
To be fair, we
won't tell Shamari.
We hung out and we were drinking for 7 hours at a football game. So that was.
So then he becomes Jamari. I get it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna call him that.
Kill him and Glory's gonna murder me. So,
awesome. Well, that's wild how you ended up in economic development. I like it. All right, I think you're a good person to be there. All right, let's do our Burns and McDonnell question of the day. We're going to play this question. And then Susan, as soon as that we are done, we'll have you answer it. Hello, Delvon. P.S. If anybody plays Monopoly Go, don't play with Delvon. He's like the #1 in the country or something crazy like that. All right, here we go.
Wow.
My name is Raheem Pree. I'm currently an electrical engineer here at Burns & McDonnell in our oil, gas, and chemical global practice. And my question for you all today is, what problems does your business solve?
So I'm up. So diaper need, we used to say nearly 1 in 3 families needed diapers who had children in diapers. But with a new study that just came out this past year, now it's nearly 1 in 4 or 1 in 2. So it's a 47% increase over what we had been saying. So 46% of our families report that they're cutting back on other essentials in order to purchase diapers. So whether that's food or activities that they do with their children. And families also are reporting that diaper need, when they have diaper need, if they don't have diapers and they can't take their children to daycare, they miss on average 5.1 work days a month. because they don't have diapers to take to daycare. But I think the craziest statistic that we learned is that 54% of our parents are employed and 28% are middle income. So what we used to think is that the families that we served were single moms and just having babies for, the government to take care of is the farthest from the truth. It hits all across economic lines. And, when you think about it, the families that we're serving, if both of mom and dad are employed and they've maxed out their credit cards and inflation has hit and the grocery store prices are high, we are literally just one set of tires away from pushing them into total poverty in our community, which is so sad in my mind.
I don't know how people afford to have kids between
I don't either.
and daycare.
And I think it's why they try to potty train their children too soon, and that doesn't work. And then you think about, then that causes stress on the family, and stress can cause abuse. And so we are just thankful that we are there to fill that gap and give families relief. And we do not ask families to prove that they're poor. It's just not equitable in the society that we live in. So if you say you need diapers, we will make sure that you get diapers.
It doesn't even sound like you're poor if you need diapers these days.
No,
right?
not anymore.
Yeah, one thing that is unique is Aaron and I used to joke around. I live next to a joke I call I love Walmart. So I love going there. And so I lived, it was a fancy Walmart.
You guys, there's a difference of a Walmart in Leawood and a Walmart in Kansas City.
True.
It was Overland Park, and then there's one at 135th that I go to about twice a week. And the thing I notice is obviously diapers are locked up and laundry detergent is locked up. And so I just think, to the casual observer, I think a lot of people just don't realize how crazy it is for people to get diapers, and hopefully more people find HappyBottoms, which is a great Kansas City organization.
They lock up diapers? That's wild. I feel like diapers would be they're big. They'd be a little bit more noticeable if you're trying to sneak out with them, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're locked up at.
I'll tell you, at my CVS, they lock up the fake eyelashes, the expensive ones. So they live in different parts of the city. All right, Jeremy. What problem does your business solve?
So, thank you. So the problems my business solve are these. Currently in our new world, many new, like Gen Z and the new workforce, one of their top priorities they want is to have development, to be able to learn how to be a good leader. And there's some reverse mentoring that's going on for those that are desiring things that are probably should have always been in the workplace, but we've always had excuses. We've always said, oh, this is the way we've always done it. And so two of the big problems I solve are those communication challenges that people face on what they desire for a healthy workplace, the psychological safety, the new psychological contracts, those areas where people are valued and feel valued in the workplace. So there's one problem I work with, and I work that on both sides, on the manager side and the employee side. The second challenge or the second problem I solve are the expectations and being able to communicate that strategically throughout an organization, from the vision of the CEO to the middle management, or sometimes we call it the frozen middle, and down to the employees. And a lot of times I've learned is that the people in the lead and the people at the bottom see the problems the same. It's just there's some folks in the middle that are having challenges understanding why change is needed. And so I help I illuminate how to best deliver those change management pieces so people can really be valued and kind of understand all the intricacies of work and be able to share and learn that well. So those are two challenges I solve, the people problems.
Do you often go into an organization and find something that you weren't expecting?
Almost every time. Usually we come in and believe it or not, I've seen it on both ways. One time I went inside an organization and and the managers were kind of convinced that things weren't going well. And the feedback I had was it was just really stressful, and the business needed to grow. They really just needed some more employees. The employees felt valued. They said, "Hey, we love what we do. We just wish we had more people here." And that actually traditionally isn't the answer. Usually it's communication. Or some people say, "Oh, it's this problem." It's kind of like, to use an example, sometimes we think we have a pinched nerve, and then when you take that deep look, you actually have a spider bite. And so you solve it differently than you would with a pinched nerve. I hope that was okay.
What a real world example to use there, Jeremy.
I thought it was so good that I couldn't laugh, and then I was like, I want him to finish.
You probably thought it was a dad joke again,
But
and he went
that's
this
a
whole time
great
without saying a
metaphor.
dad joke. That was so good, Jeremy. I'm so proud of you.
Aaron, we got to use that all the time. It's like a pinched nerve, but then you got a spider
Don't
bite.
ever use it again. It was good for this time, but I feel like if you overuse it, it won't be good next time. Right? I think Jeremy knows what to do.
One more.
Jeremy, did you say how long you've been doing this?
Absolutely. I haven't, but so I've been doing this since 2006.
Wow.
And with my experience, and I've been on my own in my own business since 2016. So just over 7 years, which it feels a lot longer and a lot shorter than that.
I started my business in 2016 too. We're twins. Yeah.
I came up with you started your business just yesterday, and Jeremy, I bet that's how you feel. Like it was just yesterday. I feel like the pandemic started yesterday.
Well, it's starting again. I've read it on Twitter. Starting again, so don't worry.
It has to be true if it was on Twitter or X-Twitter or whatever they call it now. So
awesome. All right, Steve and Anthony, what does it feel like to have two first names? And also, what problem does your business solve?
First, it feels interesting to have two first names because you go by both. But no, so I lead business development. So what exactly does that look like? So we're responsible for all types of business attraction, retention, expansion here in Kansas City, Missouri proper. And how we do that is mainly through our business development officers that are sort of tasked with helping businesses through every aspect of what they need in order to locate here in the city or expand here in the city. So whether it's managing through the process of going through zoning, planning, permitting, all of that good stuff, whether it's, offering some level of incentive that makes the deal financially feasible for these companies to be here. We go through all of those different aspects in order for businesses to grow here. The other side of it is also being able to support our entrepreneurial community in whatever way that may look. Because even if they're not big enough to necessarily utilize the tools that EDC offers, how do we help them get there to where they eventually can be able to utilize those tools? And they're hiring large numbers of people. And then, the last piece is what I call human capital, which is really focused around how do we continue to attract and retain talent here in Kansas City, as well as how do we skill up our existing workforce, because there's a great deal of jobs that are on their way that are coming. We got $13 billion. My team has $13 billion in its active business development pipeline. A lot of those are manufacturing, life health sciences, IT, and tech. And so we need to make sure that we're scaling up our workforce in order to meet that demand. So that's a little bit of how we, what we do and how we sort of help folks.
A lot of money, Stephen Anthony.
What do you feel holding Kansas City back the most from being a Nashville, a Denver, or an Austin? Because
I know the Nashville answer is bachelorette parties. Figure out how to bring them here.
I don't know if we want bachelorette
I don't know.
parties?
That's all I know.
Well, if we're going to keep on the joking pattern, I joke around all the time. I feel like $1 million when I go to Nashville. So I used to be like 50 pounds heavier, but you go there and you feel great as a.
Because there's so many bachelorette parties there.
And so you're
Let's figure that out, Stephen, and you'll fix everything.
So all right, sorry,
we're working on it.
Well, since we're working on it, what this show and it's going, and the audience is tuning in for it. But Stephen, what do you feel is holding Kansas City back? Because I feel like people from your organization have commented on it. The Business Journal was just in a healthcare meeting with Advent Health, and so I'm just curious what your theme is in terms of what you feel is holding us back.
You know, the funny thing is, I think I may have a different perception. I don't know if anything's really holding Kansas City back right now. I mean, Kansas City is in its prime. It is. If you ask people from outside of this city, Kansas City is in its golden era. There is a ton of opportunity. There's a ton of folks that are looking at the city, whether it's our sports teams, whether it's the businesses that have their eye on this city. Whether they're looking at, our leaders to sort of understand exactly how is Kansas City being able to capitalize on the success that it's had. There are other parts of the state of Missouri that are certainly a bit envious in terms of what's happening on this side of 70. And so, at the end of the day, I don't know if there's really much that is holding the city back except for, really just the ability to kind of dig in a little bit more with what we're doing really well. I tell people this all the time. If you want to be something, Nashville decided they wanted to be a hospitality capital, right? And so they started building hotels. They made themselves that way. We have to double down on the things that we're doing really well. And so we have to be aggressive about it. And not be ashamed of being aggressive. And so I think, the Kansas City nice in us at times sort of kind of forbids us from being aggressive. But, I think that's really where we are. Let's capitalize on the moment that we're in, because who knows how long it's going to last. So, I don't know if there's a whole lot that's really holding this city back, outside of, folks just really kind of digging into where we are in the moment that we're in.
I was just referencing we are in our golden age and we're primed for everything that you just mentioned. The worry is, do we have the people to really take off as the other cities did to employ to do it, and how do we go about doing that? And I just kind of wanted to get your take, because your job every day is how do you bring businesses to Kansas City? And we have the metro growing, but how do we make your job easier?
That's interesting, because we're actually in the middle of conducting a bit of what we call a focus group for some of the businesses in the industries that I just mentioned, and understanding a little bit more about what do they look for in their workforce. What exactly do they want to work for? Because everyone likes to talk about workforce development and what we're kind of doing. But at the end of the day, it's what do the businesses specifically need in order to employ people. And so we're kind of conducting a bit of a focus group to understand, and this is, alongside with the different institutions here, MCC, UMKC, all of the institutions that provide this, and understanding just what those businesses are looking for. Because once we have that firm understanding, then we can go out and specifically give, our citizens tools that they need in order to, really go after these jobs and expand. Opportunities are here. We just want to make sure that, our folks can handle the capacity.
Amen.
Oof, that's good.
Amen. Like we're at church.
Hey, I mean, me, I'm this is a business show, and it's crazy because Kansas City's like on the cusp of so many great things. We have done so many great things. We're doing so many great things, but for us to take that exponential hockey stick leap, we can do all the growth we want, but if we don't do that, and I feel like, Stephen's doing is we're finding out what we're targeting the workforce so we can put them in place to take the jobs that are needed for us to grow. Because not a lot of people are moving to Kansas City right now, but we have so much potential for growth that could hinder that rise. It's exciting, good problems to have.
Amen.
It's true. See, now there's another amen.
All right, we have 12 minutes left, so I'm going to ask this question, but you can't take the most time ever answering it. So everybody take like 3 minutes, okay? Okay, Susan. First of all, how are we almost into September of 2022? I don't even understand how time works anymore. I just don't get it. But how are you doing on your goals of what you wanted to accomplish for 2023? And what are you looking for to plan for 2024?
Okay. So easy. So our goal was to make sure that our partner agencies were back up and running well after the pandemic. And we spent all of 2022 kind of shoring them up and helping them get back on their feet, and they are. We're seeing more families. So in 2022, we distributed a little over 2.4 million diapers. That was about 160,000 diapers out our door every month to those 67 partner agencies. In 2023, right now we are averaging 296,000 diapers out our door. And that is giving 50 diapers per child, per family, per month. And we know that that's not enough, that the gap of what a family needs and what a family can afford is bigger and larger. And so our goal for 2024 is we have kicked off at this event and will take us through 2024. We have a new slogan. We are going 75 to thrive. And we are going to start distributing 75 diapers per child per month. I always say all I need is more time and more money to make that happen. And we will give out by the end of 2023 almost 3.1 million diapers into our community. And in 2024, by adding that additional 25 diapers, we will give out around 4.5 million diapers. So people can do a lot. Anybody on this podcast, we have lots of volunteer opportunities. We rewrap all of our diapers because equity is important. Everybody gets right now 2 bundles of 25 diapers. 2024, we will give 3 bundles of 25 diapers. So we need volunteer help. You can go to our website and as little as $8 help us diaper a baby for a month. We have buying power through the National Diaper Bank. So I can purchase diapers cheaper than what you can buy them at Walmart, Scott's favorite place, or
Walmart.
Costco. So you can go online and donate cash. I say that let's take the stink out of diaper need, and we are an easy charity to get behind.
How many diapers, just out of curiosity, does a baby wear a month on average?
I don't know a month, but the child will, depending on age. So obviously younger babies, newborns go through a lot more diapers, but we say on average 12 to 15 diapers a day. So, yeah.
Man, I'm glad. Now all of a sudden teenagers don't look so bad.
No, they do not.
All right, Jeremy, how are you on goals for 2023 and going into 24?
Thank you for asking, Aaron. That's a great question. And following up, I'm like, wow, I want to get behind that because I have teenagers as well. So want to get behind the diapers. So going from 2023, the second half is looking a lot better than the first half. That's the entrepreneurial journey, right? We have our ups and downs. Specifically, what I'm focusing on to accomplish some goals is to serve new leaders. So people are coming into the new leadership or going from leader to a new leader stage. And so some of my goals are to be able to connect to 5 to 7 more businesses that are looking to have a leadership development program or some coaching. So that's a new shift for me because traditionally in the past, I had just kind of thrown out leadership development and did the levels that I've done before of the middle management and the executive pieces. But I started doing some new leaders earlier this year, and I found out I actually really liked it because people were bringing fresh perspectives, fresh ideas, and this thing called hope. They're like, and I loved how that hope can really just shift quite a bit throughout an organization. And moving into 2024, I want to really define that I want to serve people. And I've trying to create a new mantra of do I not just want to mine golden people, but I want to follow up with them and encourage them. I love celebrating people. I love when people do something cool, whether that's something small or something big. And so 2024, my goal is whenever I'm doing a leadership development or that emotional intelligence, that follow up and just celebrating them more so than just the end of when I'm doing some coaching or training. And so that's I always work with about 15 to 20 businesses a year. larger businesses. So that's kind of my goals moving into 2024. And I'm trying to take a vacation in 2024. So that if anybody has any recommendations, I've been terrible the last few years. Love hearing some cool vacation spots. So
cool. All right, so none of your vacation spots. Steven, 2023 to 2024.
Jeremy, Costa Rica. Love Costa Rica. Great spot. Goals. So the team is doing a fantastic job, really, of again, attracting, retaining, and expanding businesses here in KC-Mo. That pipeline, $11 billion of worth of projects that are looking at Kansas City as a place that they want to make a capital investment here, and so forth, is big. And so we're rocking and rolling for this fiscal year, and the team is actually ahead of our goal in terms of the number of businesses that we're meeting with already. And so, definitely shout out for my folks to keep doing what they're doing. But and so as we're going in 2024, it's honestly just keeping the momentum. Scott mentioned it. Kansas City's on this trajectory, which is fantastic. And so we want to make sure that we're maintaining that momentum and making this as smooth as possible. We have, leaders in the city that are certainly behind the work that we're doing. And so, yeah, I'm excited. There's definitely the EDC is on some firmer footing, which has been great to see with new leadership at the helm. And so that's been really good for the organization. And then, personally, I have got into the Kansas City Tomorrow Leadership Program, which is great by the Civic Council. And so looking forward to just learning a little bit more and figuring out the best places where I can be even more impactful, as it pertains to the Kansas City community. So looking forward to the opportunity to keep making a mark and doing what I can to be as helpful as possible.
Okay, well, Scott, I think there's only one proper way to end the show.
I don't like you. I thought the question you asked was a perfect way to end it, and I felt bad because I interrupted you earlier, and you're still letting me ask the question.
You're done. Just say yes. I don't know what it is. Just
yes.
Okay. So this is the best way to end the show, I think. Are you ready? Let's ask Jeremy this final question. Jeremy, where do sharks go on vacation?
I have no idea. Where do sharks go on vacation?
To Finland.
That is a 5 out of 5 groans. That was a great joke.
Aaron.
What? Don't
what
ask
is
me.
what is
No.
what no what
No,
is a
it's
pirate
ending. Why are you ruining it? Okay, what?
What's a pirate's favorite letter?
R.
R.
No, the C.
With that note, we've got to get off of here. It's a disaster today. Thank you guys so much for coming. Susan, Jeremy, Steven, you guys were an absolute blast. Please go follow all of these amazing people. Obviously, if you can, support them. Send them diapers. Lots of diapers. There's a lot of cool stuff here to do, right? I always love when everything comes together like this because it's so organic. Like having all three of you guys on the panel at the same time. Thank you to Bank of Blue Valley, Burns and McDonnell, and Scott. Like always, thanks for being the best co-host on the planet. All right, guys, we'll see you same time, same place next week. Bye.